Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I have some breaking news, and this is going to be my current events for the day. Now, normally I would do these in front of a camera, but I decided to just voice over because that will let me actually read material while I'm talking to you guys. And this won't come out till in the morning. I'm filming it today, the day it broke. But this will come out as my current events tomorrow morning, so you guys will be seeing it then, obviously. But a big deal happened with PJ Braun and Aaron Singerman. And, I've called out Blackstone Labs before for basically promoting drug use and everything else. And just the whole demeanor of their company seems to be promoted towards that hardcore bodybuilding party lifestyle, which actually is about drugs and prostitution and everything else. And people need to understand that the bodybuilding world itself is based upon a whole subculture that revolves around selling your body for money, usually to other men, although a lot of the women sell their bodies to men too in that industry, using large amounts of not just anabolic drugs, but party drugs and everything else. And you could kind of tell their marketing is geared towards that lifestyle. And you could kind of see it with what they did. And I called them out on that before, and I've called them out on their ethics. And they got arrested. And they just got indicted today, and it's pretty serious. Like, we're talking about like worst case scenario. I think these guys are looking at like up to 30 years in prison each because they're getting them on multiple charges. Now, you guys know my stance on the legality of anabolics, right? You guys know my stance. I don't think they should be outlawed. I think they should be treated just like any other minorly controlled substance. I think they should be treated like alcohol and tobacco, right? I think they should be treated like alcohol and tobacco. And quite frankly, in the amounts that most people can afford to use them, they're not really any more dangerous. They're probably less dangerous than alcohol and tobacco. And people say, oh my God, but what about these people who are dying from their use? Well, you need to keep in mind how much money these guys are spending. These aren't people who are just spending a few $1,000s a year, right? I mean, you look at the sort of doses that Dallas McCarver was using, and you're talking about $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year worth of drugs going into his body. I don't think that's a particularly big health crisis. To be perfectly honest, I don't think that your concern needs to be that your 19-year-old son is going to start spending $30,000 a year on drugs that he goes and buys illegally. That's I don't think that's a real concern. Again, quantity matters, and he could easily kill himself with alcohol or tobacco or McDonald's for far less money, right? When you start talking about cost involved, abuse amounts of PEDs are relatively expensive, and particularly if they start just producing them, pharmaceutical companies make them legal, let 21-year-olds buy them, because half of the health problems that come from these substances come from what? Half the problems come from black market drugs that people are putting into their body, right? That you don't know what's in there. You don't know what's in there. And it's not clean, it's not sterile, and it's junk. So here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with these guys being caught for doing this. And I'm saying that as someone who thinks that anabolics should be legalized. I know that sounds like a contradiction. Why? Because it looks like they were spiking drugs into products. That is what they're being charged with, is that pretending that products were approved substances, and they were putting things in there that were anabolic steroids that people didn't know what they were getting. All right, that's a big difference between having something that's legal and FDA approved that you can walk in and buy if you're 21 and older, right? You can walk into a pharmacy and buy it. There's a big difference between that versus spiking random substances into a product and not telling someone that they're taking a drug. In other words, people taking drugs that they don't know they're taking. That's definitely a problem. I would go so far as to say that even if gear was totally made illegal, doing what they did should still be illegal, because you're drugging people without their knowledge if you're putting stuff in there that they don't know about. And there seems to be a lot of debate. I guess a lot of it will come out because I'm trying to read through this stuff from justice.gov. And it looks like they're being accused of running an actual ring. An actual anabolic steroid ring might be what they're trying to accuse them of. I don't know if that's exactly what they're doing. I think it's a case of they were spiking stuff in their products, right? Putting drugs that were not approved in their supplements and claiming that they were legal safe products. And that's definitely a problem. And I think every single one of us agree with that. Every single one of us agree with that. Even guys who are out there using black market stuff themselves. You think it's wrong for people to give you something that it's not labeled correctly, right? You guys know that you get upset if you buy a bottle of something from Paco in the locker room at the gym and what's in that bottle is not what you paid for. Even you guys think that's wrong, right? Even you guys think that's wrong. Well, that's what these guys did. That's what they're being charged with. That's what they're being charged with. And if that's what they did, that should be illegal. So I guess we'll see what evidence comes out. I mean, obviously they're innocent until proven guilty. But that's what they're being accused of right there publicly. Justice.gov's got the details, in addition to the fact they're being charged with money laundering. Whoa, and it's like 3 counts of money laundering, right? I think both of them, what does it look like? Wow. Yeah, they're being charged with shipping this stuff across state lines. Wow. Yeah, so they've got conspiracy to distribute anabolic steroids across state lines. They're getting charged with that. And it looks like they're getting hit with 3 counts, 3 different counts of money laundering. But the conspiracy to distribute controlled substances is up to 15 years in prison and a fine of up to $500,000. Wow. So you've got that. You've got the counts of money laundering. I mean, these guys are looking at some very, very serious prison time. All right, I think it's fair to say that we're not going to be seeing much of Aaron Singerman or PJ Braun on YouTube or social media or anything else coming up in the near future. Because they're both being charged with multiple counts of felonies. Multiple counts, like half a dozen counts of felonies, carrying like 10 and 15-year prison sentences. I mean, a worst case scenario, if they are found guilty and a judge wants to really throw the book at them and make an example out of them, make them serve those things back to back. And because a lot of this stuff is across state lines, because you got money laundering and other stuff, these are federal. This is federal. This isn't state stuff to where, you get out in half the time for good behavior. I know because I had an aunt who got 10 years. She got 10 years in the federal pen for robbing a bank. Yeah, and that's actually out there. I know my trolls are going to go digging and they're going to think I'm lying, but it's actually true. Actually did happen. It was a big deal in the town my dad's family are from. One of my dad's sisters, who's one of 7 kids, she robbed a bank. And I know my grandma swore she was innocent till the day she died, but we know she did it. Love her, but she did it. And was found guilty, sentenced to 10 years, and she got out in 9. She got out in 9 years on the 10-year sentence with really good, perfect behavior, and I guess doing all their work programs and everything else. So these guys are getting hit with a lot of counts. So unless they got one hell of a plea bargain that they can work out, I think it's fair to say that we're not going to see them back for a long time. And here's the other thing. What is it I tell you guys? If you use supplements, don't claim natty. This happens all the time. WADA actually says that if you used BioGrow, right, they've specifically said that's got banned substances. You're not allowed to compete in WADA stuff, right? They warned you. So if you use BioGrow, according to WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency for sports, you're not natty. If you use any of these guys' products, Blackstone Lab, you're not natty. So it goes back to the point, you guys who are like, oh, I'm drug tested or I'm natural, and you take a bunch of supplements that you aren't buying a pure product, you're buying a blend. Don't claim you're natty. I don't want to hear that stupid shit, because you're not. You have probably taken banned PEDs. You've probably taken steroids. If you've done 6 or 7 different supplements in your life, I can almost guarantee you've taken steroids. You're not natural, and once you've done a cycle, you're not natural ever again for the rest of your life. It's like me. I'm not even on TRT. I don't claim natty. Because once you flip that switch, that's it. You guys aren't natty. And this kind of highlights my point. This is a company that just got popped for it. So everyone who took their products who's claiming natty, you're not. And I'm going to say that's true universally of the industry. Guys who use supplements, unless you are going and buying a pure product, like I buy pure creatine monohydrate, I buy pure magnesium citrate in bulk. Unless you are buying a single ingredient product that's pure and in bulk and lab tested, don't take supplements and tell me that you're natural. All right, because you're full of shit. You're not. Tons of this stuff gets spiked with drugs, and these companies get popped for it all the time. And this just proves the point. You have evidence right here, absolute evidence that I've been telling you guys the truth about that. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.